Hey everybody, this is Brian 80. I called in sick this morning to my 2-hour a day job and ended up working second shift in housing instead of third shift, so still a little out of it. There's some situations going on right now. One is my former best friend. Her dad just died. This happened 2 months ago, and we're not friends at all anymore. But I heard that the grapevine her dad died. And someone else I care about tremendously is in Florida going through an awful divorce. And with 3 little girls I care about tremendously. And we aren't talking either. And just one of those recurring situations where people I really care about are going through terrible stuff, and I'm not available to help them. I went through something similar, and I was stationed at Ramstein Air Base in Germany, Kaiserslautern, Germany, and my dad died, and my brother tried to kill himself. I think he tried to overdose, but he ends up being committed for a little bit, and I couldn't get him out of the hospital. And at the same time, I was planning on marrying this girl, this Mormon girl, and she told me she had cancer, and she didn't, I don't think, but anyway, we broke up. And I was stuck in Germany because of the war, and I couldn't leave there and do anything about that, or what I thought was going on. Do anything about what I thought was going on. And this is just a recurring situation of people in situations that I don't have the money to help them, or I don't have the ability to travel to go help them, or we just aren't talking, so I can't do anything because we're not communicating. And that's a bad place to be. I know you guys are in that situation a lot, because I know a lot of you really well by this point, and I watch your stories, and it's like this recurring theme of all these situations that develop that we just can't do anything about. So I'm like hospitals. There's just people suffering everywhere, and you can't do anything about it. And actually, most of the people there can't do anything about it either. I mean, they can't do much about it. The nurses can do a little bit. The doctors can do a little bit, but at the end of the day, most of them usually can't do a lot about anything. So I really don't like hospitals. Really don't like nursing homes either. And kind of burn out working mental health. Can't do a whole lot about most of that. I mean, some of it needs a deliverance minister, some of it just mental illness, but can't do a lot about that. It's hard to watch, but sometimes you can help out some. But it's just a recurring thing for a lot of people. Nurses go through that. Mental health people go through that. Teachers go through that. Watching some of the kids come through that are in terrible situations. People in breakups go through that, especially if you really care about the person and they're just going through hell but choose to go through it alone, or you lose a friend but you still care about them. And I think that what the lesson in that is, kind of like a takeaway, is when your hands are absolutely tied to help somebody. Parents go through a lot with kids. It's been arranged about 3 times now that somebody kept me from my children for a month at a time. Once they tried to do it for a year, I didn't think I'd be able to see my daughters for a year, and they were 1 and 3 at the time. That was a hard pill to swallow. But it's this recurring situation of hands being tied, and people you really care about, you can't do a thing to help. All you can do is ask God to help them, because you don't have the money, the time, the ability to travel, super knowledge, or the supernatural gifting, or the authority it would take to change that situation on your own. And it's a hands tied kind of situation. But that produces this strange phenomenon of inviting God into the situation, and where He's not an afterthought. It's not, God, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this. If you'd like to chip in a little bit, I'd appreciate that. But I got this on my own. It gets to the point, there is no you got this. You don't got this. You don't have this at all, period. And it's not asking God to chip in or make a little contribution. It feels like it. It's that desperation of, you are the only one that can fix this. Because I can't do it. And they can't do it. No one else can do it. And sometimes it's so out of your hands, you can't do a thing at all, period, except for pray about it. But when it gets out of your hands completely, your hands are completely tied. And all you can do is witness it. Like watching a car wreck. All you can do is ask God to intervene in it. And it's not co-laboring where you do some of this and God does some of that. No, it's all Him, because that's all you have left. His hands are unlimited, except for a few spiritual principles He chooses to limit Himself by. His hands are unlimited. His hands are totally unlimited. Our hands are totally tied. And there's a certain, I guess, revelation in that of our own powerlessness. Because how we go crazy with anxiety sometimes, and how we get angry, and how we have control fits and make things worse by manipulating situations, is that we have this strange concept that we can fix things that we just weren't meant to fix. And we can't. And in fact, when trying to fix it, we usually make it worse. Sometimes my daughters will make a mess, and like my youngest daughter likes to drop her nail paint on my landlord's tile floor all the time. So in trying to fix it, she makes it worse every time. It just smears it all over the floor. And the only way I can clean it up as her earthly father, the only way I can clean it up is to sit her down on the couch and get her totally removed the situation. Then I can clean it up. But she just makes it worse when she tries to help. And, that's a situation she kind of created. But there are situations in life that we just stumble upon that we can't do anything about. It was there when we got there, but in our trying to fix it, we make it worse. And if we go to the time we get put in timeout, we may never develop the humility to understand that we are making this worse. So God just kind of puts us there, and we have to accept that is where we are, and that is what it is, and we can't do anything about it except pray. But I think that's more an effective prayer, because if we have one of these, God, if you don't mind, could you maybe chip in here and there with this thing? And don't fix the whole thing, because I'm going to fix most of it. There's just one little piece over there I can't fix. I need you to chip in there, but in case I don't have it. Well, I got most of it on my own. I'm good. I got this. Those prayers aren't as effective as what Jars of Clay calls it, the faith of an empty hand. Those prayers aren't as effective as God. I got nothing. I can do nothing. I can't fix this. I can't change this. I don't have any ideas about this at this point. So I need you to come in and completely take care of it. However you take care of it, whenever you take care of it, if you want to take care of it, completely on your terms. And that's the most effective thing, because He really wants to come in, I think, when He's the only option. So He doesn't want to share the steering wheel with someone. Anytime the steering wheel in a car is being shared by two individuals, that's going to be a car crash. So unless one breaks the hands of the other one to get them off. But that's, very painful. So I think sometimes He lets us be in these situations. We develop this response. Our natural humanistic response is to share and co-labor. But I think He wants us to develop this spiritual instinct, the spiritual reflex. He wants our spiritual reflex, our spiritual muscle memory to be, God, you got this, because I can't do anything about it at all. And part of what prayer is inviting God into our realm and into our domain. There's a certain school of thought, I'm not sure I totally agree with it, because it sounds very Gnostic. And I used to be a Gnostic, and I try not to dabble in it. But the thought is that humans are given authority on the earth, and if we want a supernatural entity on either side to intervene, we have to invite them. It's like, even if God made the house and He willed the house to us, when he shows up at the door, we still have to invite him in. He doesn't just barge in there whenever he feels like it. The enemy can't barge in there whenever he feels like it. We have to invite either Yahweh or the enemy in. If they want to come in, we have to invite them in. It's a spiritual principle. But I guess either could do it by force, but Yahweh is restraining the enemy from doing that, and Yahweh restrains himself. So spiritual entities had to be invited into situations. And if we invite Yahweh to one of these sharing, co-laboring things where we're going to do most of it, but he can have this little corner of it to fix, or we'll fix most of it. It's like, no, he doesn't like playing that game with us because we do more harm than good. And he usually has to do something very painful to remove our hands off of it, which I think I recently went through that. He wants to be invited into the situation to do what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, how he wants to do it. And the only way that happens is if our hands are totally tied. If we are in one of these hands-tied situations where there's no communication, or no money, or no time, or no authority, or no whatever it is that's needed, then he comes in. But if we're control freaking the situation, he just stays out of it till we're done. And that's what I have to do with my daughter sometimes is, are you done now? Are you done making this mess? You're trying to clean it up on your own. Because when you're done, you can go sit on the couch and I'll fix it. But I'm just waiting on you to be done. So I'm not going to fight you over who's going to clean this up, who's going to fix this. I'll just let you do it for a little bit. And then there comes a point, it's making such a big mess, I have to put you a timeout to come fix it myself. And it breaks our control. We have a insane craving for control, or a sense of control. It's an illusion, but we still are very attached to it. So sometimes he puts us in these situations where there's no energy left, there's no time, there's no money, there's no authority, there's no resources, there's no knowledge, and there's no bargaining with God. There's no bargaining chip. There's no delegation. There's no sharing of responsibility. There's just either you totally do it and fix it however you want to do it, if you want to do it, when you want to do it, or nothing's going to change. And when we get to that point, there is a certain peace in our own powerlessness. Like I really dislike 12 steps for a ton of reasons. Mainly they enable people to do terrible things and then say they're in the healing process, or they're going through a lot, or whatever. And just 12 steps typically give they enable people to treat other people in terrible ways, and they validate this victimhood, and they extend it forever. What would normally take someone 3 months to heal takes 3 years in a 12 step, or if they ever declare them healed. They totally limit Yahweh. Oh, you can't heal. You can heal this in an instant. You got to go through this for months and years. But there is something good about the 12 steps, is that you often hear in the 12 steps, someone that's actually really been through some hardcore stuff, overcame it, like real stuff, will say, there is a God, and it's not me. And that is the truest, most pressure relieving statement I've ever heard. There is a God, and it's not me. And if we could get that through our heads, our whole lives would change. Because there is a God, and it's not me. God being the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the one that initiates and the one that concludes, the one that starts and the one that finishes. So we just keep that in mind, and the only way we get to that place of saying there is a God, it's not me, is by looking down, seeing our hands are tied, recognize our hands are tied, and telling God our hands are tied. So we can't do anything about this, so he has to do it how he wants, when he wants, if he wants. So I hope that helps you guys. Shalom to your hearts.